The studio lights are hot. The audience is roaring with laughter. Dean Martin is leaning back in his chair, a glass of something amber in his hand, that famous crooked smile spreading across his face. And sitting just a few feet away, is Muhammad Ali, the greatest boxer who ever lived. But right now? Right now, he's being humiliated. Why don't you sing us a little song, champ? Martin slurs, his words dripping with mockery. A little boxing song. The audience laughs harder. Ali's face doesn't move. What happens in the next 60 seconds will be replayed for the next 50 years. This is the story of the night Muhammad Ali walked into a trap. A nationally televised ambush designed to embarrass him. To put him in his place. To remind him that no matter how fast his fists were, he was still just an entertainer to people like Dean Martin. But what the legendary Rat Pack singer didn't expect, what no one in that studio expected, was that Ali wouldn't just survive the humiliation. He would transform it into one of the most powerful moments in television history. A moment so shocking, so emotionally devastating, that grown men in the audience would be wiping tears from their eyes. And Dean Martin himself? He would apologize. On live television. Before we dive into what happened that night, I want to know something. Where are you watching this from right now? Drop your city, your country in the comments. Let's see how far this story travels. Because what you're about to witness, it's not just American history. It's human history. To understand what happened on that stage, you need to understand the world Muhammad Ali was living in. This is 1971. America is at war with itself. The Vietnam War is raging. Thousands of young men are dying in jungles on the other side of the world. Protests are erupting in every major city. The country is split down the middle, hawks versus doves, old guard versus counterculture. And Muhammad Ali? He's at the center of it all. For years earlier, in 1967, Ali refused to be drafted into the US military. Not because he was afraid, but because of his beliefs. I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong, he said. No Viet Cong ever called me N***********. It was one of the most controversial statements in American sports history. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Ali was stripped of his heavyweight title, banned from boxing, sentenced to 5 years in prison. His passport was revoked. He couldn't earn a living. He couldn't travel. He was exiled from the only thing he'd ever been great at. For 3.5 years, Muhammad Ali, the fastest, most talented boxer on the planet, wasn't allowed to fight. But he didn't disappear. He spoke at colleges. He became a symbol of resistance. To some, he was a hero. To others, a traitor. And to people like Dean Martin? He was a troublemaker. An uppity athlete who didn't know his place. So when Ali gets invited to the Dick Cavett Show in 1971, it's a big deal. Cavett's show wasn't some lightweight fluff interview. It was the place where intellectuals, artists, and controversial figures came to talk about serious things. Marlon Brando, Katharine Hepburn, Jimi Hendrix, Orson Welles, and now, Muhammad Ali. The booking made sense. Ali had just won his case before the Supreme Court. He was back in boxing. He was fighting again. He was rebuilding his career. But the wounds were still fresh. Half the country still hated him. And when the producers booked Dean Martin as a guest on the same episode, they knew exactly what they were doing. Dean Martin was one of the biggest stars in America. Singer, actor, comedian. Part of the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., Joey Bishop, Peter Lawford. These men owned Las Vegas in the 60s. They were untouchable. Cool. Smooth. The epitome of old-school Hollywood glamour. But there was another side to that world. A side that was unapologetically white. Unapologetically establishment. Unapologetically dismissive of people who rocked the boat. Dean Martin wasn't known for talking about politics. He played the lovable drunk. The charming crooner. The guy who made everything look easy. But his comfort came from a system that didn't ask hard questions. And Muhammad Ali? Ali was a hard question. So when Martin sat down on that couch across from Ali, he wasn't there to have a conversation. He was there to put on a show. At first, the interview goes fine. Dick Cavett asks Ali about his comeback. About his training. About his next fight. Ali is his usual self, charismatic, funny, confident. The audience loves him. But you can feel it. The tension. Dean Martin is sitting there, drink in hand, barely paying attention. He's not asking questions. He's not engaging. He's performing. The role of the smooth, unbothered star who doesn't take anything too seriously. And every time Ali says something meaningful, about justice, about his beliefs, about why he sacrificed his career, Martin smirks. It's subtle. But it's there. A little shake of the head. A little chuckle. Like he's watching a child trying to explain something complicated. The audience notices. Some of them laugh with him. And that's when you realize what's happening. This isn't an interview. It's a power play. Martin represents the old guard. The people who think athletes should shut up and entertain. Who think someone like Ali should be grateful for the platform he has. And now, Martin's about to remind him of that. It happened so casually. So smoothly. That if you weren't paying attention, you'd miss it. Dean Martin leans forward, swirling his drink, and says, "You know, champ, you're a pretty talented guy." Ali nods. Smiles. "You can fight. You can talk. You got rhythm." The audience chuckles. "So why don't you sing us a little song?" There it is. The trap. The room goes quiet for just a second. Because everyone knows what this is. It's a dare. A challenge. A setup for humiliation disguised as a joke. If Ali refuses, he looks uptight. Humorless. Like he can't take a joke. If he tries to sing and fails, he's a fool. Either way, Dean Martin wins. The audience laughs, waiting to see what Ali will do. And you can see it on Ali's face. He knows. He knows exactly what's happening. For a moment, Muhammad Ali just sits there. Silent. He looks at Dean Martin. Then at Dick Cavett. Then at the audience. And you can see him calculating. Not with anger. Not with fear. But with something else. Intelligence. Dignity. Control. Because here's the thing about Muhammad Ali that people forget. He wasn't just a fighter. He was a tactician. In the ring, he didn't just throw punches, he set traps. He baited opponents. He made them think they had him, and then he'd flip the script. And that's exactly what he's about to do now. Ali takes a slow breath. Stands up. And the audience goes completely silent. What happens next? Is something no one could have predicted. Muhammad Ali doesn't sing a boxing song. He doesn't do some silly rhyme or make a joke out of himself. Instead, he starts singing Bridge Over Troubled Water. And not just singing it. Performing it. His voice is deep. Soulful. Powerful. When you're weary, feeling small. When tears are in your eyes. I will dry them all. The studio goes dead quiet. You can hear every word. Every breath. Every note. And the audience, these people who were just laughing at him 30 seconds ago. They're frozen. Because this isn't what they expected. This isn't some gimmick. This is real. Ali's voice cracks slightly on certain words, not because he can't sing, but because he's feeling it. He's singing about pain. About struggle. About being there for people when the world turns its back on them. And everyone in that room knows. He's not just singing a song. He's telling his story. I'm on your side. When times get rough. And friends just can't be found. The camera cuts to the audience. Some of them have their hands over their mouths. Some of them are wiping their eyes. Grown men. Crying. Because they realize what they're witnessing. This man, who was stripped of everything, who was humiliated, who was told to shut up and fight, is standing on national television. Singing about resilience. About grace. About bridge over troubled water. And he's doing it beautifully. The camera cuts to Dean Martin. And his face? His face says everything. The smirk is gone. The drink is still in his hand, but he's not sipping it. He's just staring. Frozen. Like he's been hit by something he didn't see coming. Because Dean Martin is a performer. He's been in show business for 30 years. He knows talent when he sees it. He knows authenticity when he hears it. And what he's hearing right now. It's not just a song. It's a reckoning. When Ali finishes, the audience erupts. Not polite applause. Not courtesy clapping. A standing ovation. People are shouting. Crying. Clapping so hard their hands hurt. And Dean Martin? He stands up too. Slowly. And he does something no one expected. He walks over to Muhammad Ali. And he shakes his hand. Not the quick, performative handshake of a TV host. A real one. Firm. Respectful. And then he says, loud enough for the microphone to catch. I'm sorry. 2 words. On live television. From one of the biggest stars in the world. To the man he just tried to humiliate. Here's why this moment is so powerful. It's not just about Ali being talented. It's about what he chose to do with that moment. He could have refused to sing. He could have called Martin out. He could have walked off the stage. But instead, he met mockery with beauty. He met disrespect with dignity. He met arrogance with grace. And in doing so, he didn't just win. He transformed the room. Because that's the thing about true power. It's not about domination. It's about elevation. Ali didn't humiliate Dean Martin back. He gave him a chance to be better. And Martin took it. That apology? That wasn't weakness. That was a man realizing he was wrong. In front of millions of people. and having the courage to say it. This clip would be replayed for decades. It became one of the most famous moments in television history. Not because it was dramatic. Not because there was a fight. But because it was real. In an era where black athletes were expected to stay in their lane, Ali showed that his lane was wherever he decided it was. In an era where dissent was punished, Ali showed that standing for something had power. In an era where vulnerability was seen as weakness, Ali showed that it could be the strongest thing you do. Journalists wrote about it. Historians studied it. Teachers showed it in classrooms. Because it wasn't just about a song. It was about what happens when you refuse to let someone else define you. See, people remember Ali as the greatest boxer of all time. The Louisville Lip. The man who floated like a butterfly and stung like a bee. But Muhammad Ali was so much more than that. He was a man who gave up everything for his principles. Think about that. In 1967, Ali was 25 years old. At the peak of his career. Undefeated. Heavyweight champion of the world. He had fame. Money. Endorsements. And he walked away from all of it. Because he believed the Vietnam War was wrong. Because he believed his faith was more important than a title. Most people talk about standing for something. Ali actually did it. And it cost him. He lost 3.5 years of his prime. Years he could never get back. He lost millions of dollars. He was vilified. Threatened. Hated. But he never backed down. And when he came back to boxing in 1970, he wasn't the same fighter physically. But he was something more. A symbol. Of resistance. Of courage. Of what it means to be willing to lose everything. For the chance to keep your soul. So why does this moment on the Dick Cavett Show matter? Why does it still resonate 50 years later? Because it reminds us of something we forget. That dignity is a choice. That grace is a weapon. That the way you respond to disrespect says more about you than the disrespect itself. Dean Martin tried to embarrass Muhammad Ali. And Ali could have responded with anger. With bitterness. With revenge. But he didn't. He responded with beauty. And in doing so, he didn't just win that moment. He transcended it. That's the lesson. When someone tries to diminish you, you don't have to diminish them back. You can rise. You can show them, and everyone watching, who you really are. Muhammad Ali knew who he was. A fighter. A poet. A man of faith. A man of principle. And no amount of mockery could take that away. So the next time someone tries to make you small, remember this moment. Remember Muhammad Ali standing on that stage. Remember him singing about troubled water. Remember him turning humiliation into triumph. Not with his fists. But with his voice. That's power. That's legacy. That's why we're still talking about it today. Muhammad Ali passed away in 2016. But moments like this? They live forever. Because they remind us what's possible. When you refuse to be broken. When you choose grace over bitterness. When you meet the world's cruelty. With your own unshakable light. If this story moved you, let me know in the comments. Tell me what moment hit you the hardest. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Because there are so many more stories like this. Stories of people who refuse to be silenced. Who turn pain into power. Who remind us what it means to be human. I'll see you in the next one.